With pre-releases starting to occur for the new Pillars of Strength OP03 set within the One Piece trading card game, there are 127 different types of cards that will come out within this set. Now, looking at the prices for these and looking at things from the past, it comes to be the question of, will these cards be worth it to buy, or should you wait to buy them? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Empire YouTube channel. Today we are going over what to buy Wednesday. If you're new here and you're not sure what this is, it's where we take the deck of the week and talk about some cards within it, and also talk about some things that might be happening within the market for One Piece TCG. Now, this week it is something special. We're not going to be covering the Zoro deck that we talked about this week. Most of the cards within that list we have talked about prices for before, and with new cards coming out with OP3, some of them might be good to buy, some might not be. But with OP03 being only 2 weeks away, we are going to be looking at some of the projectiles when it comes to pricing for the cards. Now, I don't have the overall market scale for what the prices will be, but I just want to show you guys some efforts when it comes to the past set with OP02. So, the one thing I do want to do is show you guys the essence of the pricings when it comes to the SRs and how it's not a good idea to buy during pre-release weekend. It's also not a good idea to buy when the cards first come out. Give them a couple weeks and then let the prices drop, and that's the best time to buy them. Going through this, we're going to look at every SR from OP02 and see how the price had changed from pre-release weekend all the way to the pricings now right before OP03 based on playability and a million other factors. So the first card that we're going to talk about is Edward Newgate. Now, Edward Newgate being a card that dominated within red. It made Whitebeard do well, it made Zoro do well, it made Luffy do well. It was the go-to SR when it came to endgame lethals. And this card over time, it did pre-release weekend start at $35. Now, spending $35 per copy, people were worried that due to the playability of this card that it would retain its price, but as we see over the 6-month span, obviously it's not fully 6 months, February to March is only 4 months, but in the 6-month calendar, it went from being $32 at a highest of $35 right before the set finally dropped, all the way down to what it is today being $10.68 roughly. Some places having it for more, it just depends on if shipping's included or not. This is a prime example of a playable card within a set having a very high price to start and then just going downhill. Now that's just the first example with Edward Newgate being a very playable card. The next card we're going to look at, not so much playable in any deck aside from Whitebeard. This is the Ace card. Now, Ace pre-release weekend started at $21, and even within the first week of it being released, it dropped all the way from $21 down to $7.80, and that's just in a week span. This was during pre-release time with February 20th to the 26th, all the way down to $7.80 on February 27th to March 5th, and that was the initial time in which the set was released. I can't remember the exact date that the new set dropped, but I do know that it was within this week and the prices for it tanked. Then we can see over time that the prices kept going down, and as Whitebeard saw some more play and Ace was good, it went up to around a $5 card. But if you had purchased these at the pre-release market of being $21 to be one of the first people to get the cards, you just lost out on $15 per copy, meaning if you bought a playset, you lost out on $60. When had you waited, even if you bought at around the $7 mark to now, you would have only lost out on $8. So this is another prime example of not buying during pre-release hype and instead waiting until the prices actually solidify themselves when there's more product available. That's it for the red cards. Next we'll talk about green. Green wasn't as playable until later within the set with the event deck with Bart and Luffy showing itself. Nami started out as a $10 card and it plummeted all the way down to the $60, $50, 50-60 cent range, and it went all the way back up to $3. Now it's around the $3 range. As we can see here, it is staying at around $3, so it didn't drop that much, but if you did purchase at pre-release weekend, that's almost a $7 drop on each copy, meaning you almost lost out on $28 had you bought during the pre-release weekend and not waited during this big gap right as the set released. As you'll notice within the trends, a lot of the cards will be hyped and priced a certain way when it comes to pre-release weekend, and then the week that the set drops, or the day the set drops, or a couple days after, they start to plummet. Within a week span, we saw the $10 all the way down to $2.20, and even if you had purchased at the $2.20, you still would have made some money, as they're up 70 cents from there. That's just one example for green. The next one we'll talk about is Odin. Now, Odin was played for a little while. It was all the way up to $15 a copy on pre-release weekend, from $11 to $15, and then fully as it released, it started to drop even more, and then over the next month, it plummeted down all the way down to $3, and then kept going down to $1.58. Now you're looking to spend around $1 to $1.96 per copy. As we can see, Overdose Gaming has them for $1.96, and they have 19 available. So looking at this, $15 down to $1, we'll say $2. So $15 to $2, that's $13 each copy. That means that you almost lost $52 had you purchased during the pre-release weekend instead of waiting. Next, we do have Blue. Now, Blue hasn't seen as much play, it hasn't been consistent, so the prices aren't as bad, but you still do lose out money by buying into the pre-release hype. When it comes down to it, during the pre-release market, it was $7.27. Now it's all the way down to 77 cents, and even if we round that up to $1 and make this $7, you still lost out on $24 had you purchased on the pre-release weekend. So overall, the key idea behind all of this is not to buy into the market when the set first comes out for pre-release window, or even when the set first releases. Wait a few days and the prices will begin to adjust themselves as more people start to purchase things. Next, we do have the Monkey D. Luffy. Now, Monkey D. Luffy saw a little bit more play compared to the Event Cov, as it does contain a on-play and one attacking effect, and it works well with the Event Cov leader because you trash cards within your hand. Looking at this, pre-release weekend, it was upwards of $16, and then just a week later, it dropped almost $10, and now looking at it months later, it's down to $1. So had you purchased at the $15 window, and you have them now at the $1 window, that means that you've lost out on $14 per copy, which is $56. That's almost $60 a copy, or $60 for the playset that you would have lost out on. Next, for Purple. Purple again wasn't as played. Magellans weren't expensive at all. They were down $5, and it's come down to about $1. So that's only $16 lost, but still that does add up. With Purple, the Magellan wasn't as playable when it comes down to everything, and it didn't see as much play, and it wasn't as hyped to be played. So that's why the prices weren't so high, but still you would have lost out on $16 had you purchased then and tried to sell now. Now we're getting into the black cards. Black was the new archetype within this set, and looking at pre-release window weekend, the Kuzan being a 4-drop minus 4 cost to a character, the prices did actually rise from pre-release weekend. So pre-release weekend was around $12, and then after the set had released and black was being played, it went up to $16, but again after that it plummeted down to $4. So we'll round this to 4 and we'll keep this at 16. That's still a $12 loss compared to the first week of release versus now. That means that you would have lost out on $48 for a playset, which is not good at all. This should show you guys exactly why you should wait to buy out your cards and buy your playsets. Don't do what I did and what a lot of other people did and think cards will stay the same price and buy them now just to get them out of the way. It's way better to save money, as you will be able to save for events or for more product later in the future. Next, we do have Borsalino. Borsalino, one of the key blockers within black, as it does have the non-KO effect. It can't be KO'd during your opponent's turn, and it gets 1,000 power buff during your opponent's turn. Pre-release weekend, this card was around $24.88. Then after a week, it dropped around $15.76 for further pre-releases. Then it went up a tiny bit during release to $16, but has gone down since. It's back up to around $8 with its lowest point being $5, but even if you sold them now at $8 and you bought them at their first initial release, you're still losing $8 a copy, which means you would have lost $32 on this as far as cards go. Again, this is not for collecting purposes, this is more for playability aspect. I just want to speak on the fact that you would lose money if you're trying to buy cards to play competitively and you bought them on pre-release weekend as opposed to everything else. Next, we do have Sakazuki. This is the 6-drop 7000. You can KO a 5-drop or less. When this first released on pre-release weekend, $16.51. And then within 1 week, within 1 week of it being released and final pre-releases, went to $11.82 and then plummeted all the way down to a low of $2 and a high of $3.70. Even if we rounded this to $16 and we put this $3.70 to $4, again, that is a $12 drop in each copy, which means you just lost yourself $48. And next we do have Uta. Now this was the secret rare of the set. No one thought it would be playable. It was considered a waifu card. As we can see, this thing has tanked. If you bought during the pre-release weekend, the first set, it was $92. You were going to spend almost $100 on a single copy of the Uto that wasn't even playable. And then a week later, for the final set of pre-releases, it dropped to $32. And then on release, it dropped to $11.28, and now it is $3.60. Now, if you round this market price to $92, and then you go to the market price now, and you round this to $4, that's $88 per copy, which means you lost out on $352. That means that if you purchase during pre-release weekend, you're not going to be happy when it comes to selling the Utas now if you're not playing with them anymore, or you're trying to sell these cards when it comes to purchasing stuff for OP3. $92 to $4, and that is just from release. It's just gone down. It's not good. Do not make the same mistake when it comes to the secret rares within this set. And finally, we'll talk about the more playable secret rare. This is the Kuzan. Now, Kuzan on release and the pre-release, it did rise. It went from around $60 up to $68, so almost $70 on release, but since then it just has tanked. It has held some value over time with going on a dip and then back down, but it is down to $22 a copy. So if we take the initial high of when it was $68, we can round that to $68 and drop it all the way down to $23. That means that each copy you've lost $45 on. And then that means that for a playset, you have lost out on $180. So this should be a prime example of why you shouldn't buy into the hype when a set first drops. Instead, wait a little bit, see if you can get some deals with friends, see if you can get bulk deals when it comes to purchasing cards. The last thing that you want to do is spend a ton of money to get the secret rares and the SRs, and then in the end, when you're trying to scrounge up some money for the next set and selling off extra cards you don't need, you find yourself in a situation where you lost out on a ton of potential when it comes to money. The last thing you want is to be up here with the Uta, for example, and then sell down here, and it's just not fun at all. Again, this is not a scalping video. This is not for buying and holding and selling later on. This is more of a competitive aspect in talking about why you should probably wait to buy the SRs that you're wanting to play with a few days to a few weeks after release of a new set. The last thing you want to do is buy into the new set hype and lose a ton of money in the end when you could have waited a few more days and saved yourself $30 to $40. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in tomorrow's episode of Trash Deck Thursday.